What's up guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Luis and this is Dynamic Duo Cosplay, the channel where we teach you how to make some cool costumes while still being on a budget just in time for Comic-Con. Today I want to start off with one of my favorite characters from the DC universe, and that would be Red Hood. As you can see, I'm always repping this hat, you know. A really cool character, so without further ado, let's get to it. What we're going to be needing is a template that I got over at SyncProd. I'll go ahead and link his channel over in the description. What we'll need next is some EVA floor mat. We'll need some 6mm craft foam, as well as some 2mm craft foam. That you could get at any craft store around your city, any Hobby Lobby, Michaels. We also needed a bit of fabric, so I went ahead and just got an old t-shirt. Preferably black would be good, just so it could blend into the background of the costume itself. So next, what you're going to want to do is take the template and trace it out with a marker. That way you have your lines on there for you to cut out. You're not going to actually be gluing the paper onto it at all. You're going to grab your X-Acto knife and you're just going to get on with cutting the entire piece out. Most of these pieces are going to be a straight cut, so just cut it like you normally would. But some pieces, it will show on the template that you have to cut in a certain angle. That way you could get the right shape on the chest piece. As you can see, we're just pulling out a little bit of contact cement here. That's what's going to be put on the foam. What you want to do is you want to cover every piece of foam where they're going to be connecting and let it dry for a good 5 to 6 minutes, or until you feel that it's a little bit tacky. And as you see there, that's where I'm sticking everything together. Looks a little flat right now, but in a little bit I'll show you how to form that. So you're going to grab your heat gun and start hitting it with the heat, and you'll be able to form it against your hand. I like to use my hands and knees on that. Well, next we're just going to grab a piece of 2mm craft foam and also grab a template that I grabbed off of Google. All I looked up was Red Hood logo. There's tons of them. I found one that I personally like better than the original. And then from there, you're just going to go ahead and start tracing it and cutting it out. So we're going to go ahead and start tracing out the abdominal piece onto the shirt, and we're going to cut that off. That's going to hold all our ab plating on there. That way you still have some mobility and you're not going to be pretty stiff if you were to use foam. Alright guys, and make sure you put something underneath you, because throughout me cutting all this out, it was actually hurting my knees and legs as well. So that's why I put that yoga mat down there. Alright, and this is where we're going to start cutting out the ab plating. Most of the parts you could mirror onto each other. That way they could be exactly identical. Some other parts is just going to be one piece. And this is where we start cutting it out. As you can see, I started laying them on the abdominal piece of the shirt. That way I can know where they line up to. So right here on certain pieces, it's going to ask us to cut in a V groove, or you could burn it with either a soldering iron or a wood burner. So this way it's not going to be too flat, it's actually going to have some grooves in it. We're going to put all our contact cement on just one side, that side being the foam. We're not going to put any on the fabric. Right here we're plugging the wood burner, and we're actually going to start burning in those lines in just a second. That way we can have a little bit of groove in there, a little bit of contour in the abdominals. Now I just freehanded these. You could do as you like. You could put what's on the template, or you could freehand it as well. It's always up to you. I mean, it is just cosplay. No one's going to be criticizing you for your perfect lines. Here we go, just to make sure that they're really secure on there. Put a little bit more contact cement and started sticking them on. Now when it comes to gluing foam onto fabric, You don't really have to wait too long for the contact cement to dry. You could just stick it on there, but make sure that you give it a little time to dry after that, or else they might start falling off. And as you notice, I didn't put up the last part on the abs just because I wanted to stick them onto the foam first. I had a little bit of trouble here just because the foam kept moving around while I was trying to stick the shirt on. But I glued it to there, and then I also put the top part on. And last but not least, I'm cutting out the emblem to make sure that it goes right on the chest. So we put a thin layer of contact cement there, and then a thin layer right on the emblem itself. And then hit it with the heat foam just so it could seal it up. And that's our chest piece right there. Next thing, we're going to get the back piece and use up some of the foam that we didn't use for the chest piece. Since it's not too many pieces, we don't have to pull out a whole new sheet. Here we're adding some contact cement to the back piece. I went ahead and put two parts of the back piece reversed. So instead of using the smooth side of the foam, I used a little bumpy side. That way I could give it a little bit more texture in case I want to take off my jacket halfway through the con. And when it comes to the back piece, it does take a little work to glue these together just because they're not meant to be glued straight on. They're meant for it to have a curve in it. As you can see, I was having a little bit of trouble here, but with a little bit of heat from the heat gun, you're able to glue those back on together. It is going to have like a turtle shell type shape on it, which is why we're heating it up, so it could be a little bit more malleable. And right here we're going to end up gluing the shoulder strap area to the chest. And I also forgot to mention, if you don't have a heat gun, you don't need to go out and buy one. You could just use your stove top, make sure you just don't hold it too close to the flame. You just need something that's going to heat up the foam enough for you to be able to move it around. So what I'm gluing on here is a little bit of elastic that I got from my local hobby store or craft store. As you can see, I still have a little bit of mobility there. Alright guys, that does it for today's episode. Make sure you tune in next time where we do the gauntlets as well as the shoulder pads. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want to see more. Once again, I am Luis. Make sure to keep it nerdy.